Hello, and welcome to or welcome back to Who Killed Who. Today we will be covering a very violent and disturbing event that caused the end of Dr. Amie Harwick's life. This situation is haunting because this incredibly beautiful and intelligent woman did everything right, and she still met her end at the hands of her stalker. So without further ado, let's jump right in and tell Amie's story. Before getting into all of the details of today's story, I would like to start out by saying that if you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic V, please call the National Domestic V Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-7233 or go to hotline.org. All calls are toll-free and confidential. The hotline is available 24/7 and has more than 170 languages. That being said, let's get into who Amie was. This one truly gets me. This incredible woman came from a humble beginning and accomplished so much in her short time. Amie was adopted as a child, and her whole life she knew she was meant for Hollywood and helping people. To move there, she began working as a Playboy model and a dance performer to pay for her post-secondary education. She studied psychology at California State Polytechnical University, earned a Master of Arts degree from Pepperdine University in clinical psychology, and a PhD from a non-accredited Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality, and later became a licensed marriage and family therapist. Amie was amazing at networking and became a well-known therapist in West Hollywood. She regularly appeared on podcasts, TV, and her own YouTube channel to discuss her work. She was extremely driven and even wrote her own book named The New Sex Bible for Women, The Complete Guide to Sexual Self-Awareness and Intimacy, which was published in 2014. Amie was very active in defending the rights of the people in the adult film industry. She also worked closely with many of them because of the trauma they had been through in the industry. Amie had partnered with Pineapple Support, an organization of sex work positive mental health professionals that had been founded in late 2017 in the wake of a rash of adult industry employees ending themselves. In 2017, Amie and comedian Drew Carey began dating. Carey posted a photo of them together on Instagram with a caption, "The face of a lottery winner," talking about himself being able to be with her. He won the lottery. Within a year, Carey proposed to her and they became engaged. The engagement was called off in 2018 and the split was reported as amicable. After Amie's death, Carey told NBC that Harwick was a positive force in the world of an unapologetic champion of women. In his first extensive TV interview, Carey provided a raw, honest account of unexpected love and unbearable loss. So what happened to this beautiful woman who had a heart for people that others judge? To explain, I need to go back to April of 2011. Amie had taken out 2 restraining orders against her ex, Gareth Pursehouse. Their relationship had ended due to him being physical with her. In the police records, it stated that he had forced her to the ground, then covered her mouth so she couldn't scream, and kicked her. She had gone further and stated that he also choked her and slammed her head and punched her. After this had occurred, Amie was done with him. She forced him completely out of her life. Friends were impressed and proud of her. Amie knew how she should be treated and never looked back. During this time is when she got her PhD mentioned earlier and exploded in her career. Gareth had become a phantom and a bad memory of her past. That was until the sex industry red carpet event on January 16, 2020. She had been invited by several of the people that she had worked with, and with her helping in this industry, it would be great for her and her business. She had been waiting in line for her turn to go onto the red carpet when her gaze lifted and she met her gaze with a man she had not seen in over 8 years. Her knees must have come close to buckling as soon as their eyes met. Gareth immediately made his way directly to her. You see, Gareth was somewhat of a comedian and had a connection to this industry, but as soon as he got to Amie, he raised his voice and was saying things like, "You B-word, you ruined my life." Witnesses said that Amie somehow remained calm and went into therapist mode. She was embarrassed and tried to calm the situation, asking him to walk away from the crowd. She told him that whatever he felt that she had done to him, she was truly sorry. She said that they couldn't be friends because of his behavior in the past, but they didn't have to be enemies, and no, she would not give him a hug. After this interaction, Amie was very shaken up, and she decided to leave the event early. She went home and actually sent herself an email stating, and I will also put it on the screen so you can listen to me or you can pause it and read it, whatever you would like to do. The email said, "I was scared and I felt like I needed to neutralize the situation. I don't think he was going to attack me in that moment, but this clearly shows me how obsessed he was. He told me that he thinks about me every day, and every day he cries. He told me that he lost his job when we broke up because he couldn't work. He told me that no matter what he did, he couldn't stop obsessing over me. He told me that I was a cheater and a liar because in his mind, he thought we were still together when I believed we had broken up. He recited messages that I had sent from his time frame about 9 years ago. He recited the date, who they were to, and exactly what was said word for word. I couldn't believe it. I was very scared. He said he wasn't able to move on." The poor woman was terrified, and friends that spoke with her after this remember her taking every security measure she could. She began sharing her location with one of her best friends and installed a Ring camera at her home that she shared with a roommate that was one of her close male friends. The house was a 3-story building. Her roommate lived on the first floor and she lived on the 3rd floor with a beautiful balcony that she loved. As the next month was going by, she began receiving text messages from Gareth. He had gotten a new number and somehow found out her number. Her response to him was exactly what she should have said. "I think it was really good that we were able to speak last night. I'm sure there's a lot more that you want to process and say to me, but I think that was a lot for both of us. I hope that you were able to hear me out last night when I said that I was sorry for anything that caused you suffering and that I forgive you for the things that you did to me. I think right now it's best to have some space, and I don't mean that in any negative way. The past is sad and triggering for both of us. We ended our talk last night well. We can be civil from a distance, respect each other, and move forward with our own lives." I mean, come on. I have so much respect for her, and she handled herself so well. If that was me and an ex, it wouldn't go like that. When I put myself in her situation, I can't. She had to be so scared that he had found her number again. She knew that the stalking was beginning again and took great measure to not go anywhere alone, and she was always looking over her shoulder. Later, a friend would speak out saying, "He kept finding her, kept seeking her out. He didn't respect the end of the relationship." It's not unusual for high-profile figures to have stalkers. However, to have a stalker who works in the same industry and attends the same event is unusual. It's unclear if this encounter with Pursehouse was pure coincidence or if he had strategically planned working that specific event because he knew Harwick would be there. However, the latter is most likely the case. On the evening of Valentine's Day 2020, Amie went out for a fun night with some girlfriends to a burlesque show. Upon arriving home around 1 a.m., she returned a text to one of her best friends, Robert Koshland, about a restaurant he wanted to try in Scotland where he and his wife and Amie planned to visit in April. He said that it was a restaurant that he had picked out specifically for Amie and knew that she would be so excited to go to it. Little did he know, and she would know, that would be the last text Amie ever sent. Before Amie had returned home at 1 a.m., the Ring camera had actually picked up Gareth going up to it and resetting it. He had gone into the house and lied in wait for her. And no one truly knows what happened in that third floor room except the two of them. But Amie's roommate was awakened to horrific screaming and banging going on upstairs. Alarmed and not knowing what to do, he yelled upstairs several times for it to stop and to not hurt Amie. Her roommate had a horrible back problem and knew he wouldn't be good in a fight and had no idea how many people were upstairs. Not being able to find his phone, he quickly ran next door, and he actually had to climb over a fence and got all scratched up on his stomach, and he got over to his neighbor's house to call 911. When the police and the paramedics got there, Amie was laying on the ground underneath her balcony that was at least 20 feet up. She was barely breathing and passed away quickly after. She had numerous injuries, and it was obvious that she had been choked, and the authorities believed that she was thrown over the balcony. Inside of her room, they found a syringe full of a lethal dose of nicotine, and there was blood on the door of the room, proving that a horrific battle had ensued. Looking back through the Ring camera footage, you can actually see Gareth leaving after very disheveled. Her best friend would later read that final text she sent him, "Wow, that looks great." He would later find out that within 10 minutes of hitting send, she had been attacked. It didn't take long for investigators to zero in on Pursehouse. He was arrested the very next day and was charged for murder with special circumstances of lying in wait, breaking and entering, and home burglary. And I got confused on that when I read that originally because I was thinking like burglary meant stealing, but no, it's when you break into something with ill intent. So those were his charges that he received. Gareth Pursehouse was released under a $2 million bond and rearrested after pleading not guilty on April 16, 2020. His court hearing is now currently going on, and he is not arguing anything about being there. His lawyers are arguing that he never had the intent to harm her that night and that her rejection had driven him into madness and that he had brought the syringe to end himself. I personally believe that is bull, and I cannot wait to hear the final outcome in this case and see Amie get justice. She was an incredibly valuable person, and her friends and family loved her dearly. She wanted to make this world a better place, and she was stolen from us way too soon. I watched the interview with her best friend Robert, and he's actually working with plans to create a statue for her in Hollywood where she just always belonged, and it will be an everlasting place that people can go and visit her. And I think that's very respectful. And I will absolutely be watching the outcome of this case closely and will update you on anything new. Please let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section down below. Do you think that there is any truth to what the lawyers are arguing? I just think it's a horrible defense, in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video when we find out who killed who.